He's a Wahoo, Nebraska native, NFL favorite turned country music star. It's my good friend, Zach Miller. Welcome to the Out Route.
Welcome to the Out Route with your host, Lauren Screeden.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. Where are you talking to us from? Tell us
The
everything.
great little town of Elkhorn, Nebraska.
I mean, that was a move to the big city from where you grew up, huh?
30 miles down the road and like a couple 100,000 more people from where I grew up at.
You used to tell me, doesn't Wahoo have like 2 stoplights or something like that?
We're a little bit off on the details, Lauren. I grew up in Weston, Nebraska. I went to school in Wahoo. I had to commute 7 miles down the road to get an education.
Oh, so Wahoo was the bigger town.
And it has 1 stoplight.
Okay. Thank you for the clarification there. Now, we appreciate you taking the time here to talk with us. What do you have going on today?
Let me check my schedule. I have a 1 o'clock podcast with Lauren.
Well, you were very busy this week, though. You were recording some new music, I feel like.
Partially true, not true. All the songs are done for an album that I have coming out later this year. We're just finishing vocals on the last song, so trying to get that finished up. Good thing is I have a studio in my house, so I can take as much time as I possibly need to get it done.
That's awesome. So run us through, for those of us not in the music industry, run us through from start to finish. What does it take to put out a song or an album?
I mean, I don't even know if this is a standard. This is just the way that I do it here. This is how I approached it. And I love it because I get to stay at home and kind of be in my own little bubble, and I get to write and create the way that I do. So this whole album I created basically in my studio basement, where I would write, record, and kind of build these songs from scratch. I would create a very shitty demo, okay? Would send it to a friend of mine whose name is Carrie Willits. But Carrie Willits lives in London, England. That's a kind of beautiful thing about technology these days, as we see. We can communicate and do all this stuff. So I'd basically make a scratch demo, send it to Carrie. He would do production, and we kind of meet in the middle and say, okay, this is where we're at. And then we build it from there. And then when that gets done, I'll record final vocals here in my studio. We'll get mixed and mastered in London by a gentleman named Daniel Moyler, and then gets shipped to Nashville to get mastered by a friend of mine named Colt Caparoon.
Wow. That's quite the process. So how long is that taking?
I was just looking, actually. So we're talking, these songs were created, I'd say, anywhere from last June through the fall. Yeah, like August 17th is on this little playlist that we have when the first time Carrie got us. So August, and I probably wrote them in June or July and kind of got to the point where I could send to Carrie, and then started production in August.
And you write it all yourself. So how do you come up with ideas for these songs? Are you just like jotting down constantly? Like you're here, you're there, you're like napkin at a coffee house type deal?
I do have a rolling note in my phone that's just like, if I hear a one-liner or something pops in my head, I'll put it down and I'll scroll through that for inspiration. But most of the time they just kind of hit me, in waves, kind of when I feel a bit creative. I'm in the studio every day. I go down there and kind of just, that's my space. So just play some music, and the stories come to me, and that's just about living life. And this whole album really was from a space of kind of the darkness that I was going through towards the end of my career.
So that's something that, I mean, it's been a few years now, but that's something that you're still processing through.
I'm not sure, like, not processing, just like revisiting some of that stuff. Like, I'm cool with it. It's not still weighing on me. But some of these stories on the album, they live in that time. So I went back there and kind of relived the way I was feeling, because I think those are important stories to me in my life. And just getting through all that stuff was obviously some trying times for me. And I thought it was cool to write about it.
Absolutely. I mean, does it feel like forever ago that happened? Your career-ending injury?
I felt when it happened that it would never, ever end. Like I was just going to be in this perpetual state of misery and just be broken in half forever. And then when it got done, I was like, all right, we made it through it. And now it's like so far removed. Shit, we're almost 10 years. Because it happened in 2017. I mean, I still deal with like the daily residual effect of it, but it's almost like my new normal now. So I don't ever really think about it or doesn't really pop in my head as much anymore.
I mean, you've talked about the injury. We've talked about it, obviously, numerous times. How did you even start to process it when it first happened?
You're talking like the first, like when I first got injured, or like when I was in the whole thick of things.
Yeah, like, did you even know that it was happening? When, like, did you like wake up in a hospital being like, "What just happened?"
Knew I had an injury. I've been injured playing the game of football before, so I knew, but I thought I like tore my ACL or something. I didn't know the severity of it until I kind of in the midst of them replaying and looking at the video and all that stuff. Nick actually told me, he's like, hey, they're replaying the thing. Don't look at the video board. And so I peeked up and was like, ooh, that's not great when your leg is bent that far backwards. So, and then just as far as like when I knew something was really wrong, I lost all feeling to my foot and my leg in the back in the locker room. And then I think that's when all the doctors and trainers were like, all right, we got to figure something else out. I didn't know the severity of it. Obviously, all that stuff is just going on. Getting into the hospital was kind of a mess, but they got me there in time. And the first mention of, maybe amputating my leg was when I was like, all right, this is not good. And I think at that point they had had enough of me anyway. So I really just remember them being like, we'll try and save your leg. And I was like, no, do not cut my leg off. And then they put me to sleep. The first thing that I do remember waking up in the hospital, obviously out of it. And Kristen and my dad were in the hospital with me. And I was like, what are you guys doing here? You have to come all this way down here. And they both looked at me like, you have no idea what is going on.
Yeah, they're like, "Yeah, we did have to come, actually."
Waking up there, I probably knew something was obviously a little bit extreme.
So extreme. I mean, that's just obviously football is a tough game. It's violent. You assume
Yeah.
things are going to happen. Like you said, been injured before. To talk about actually potentially losing your leg is just not even like in the realm.
And there's been people that have had, serious injuries like that playing the game, but it's so rare. And we
Yeah.
all know that injury is part of the game. Probably just never really think that it would go that extreme, but we love it. So we do it.
Did you ever consider making a comeback?
Even like when I was going through rehab every day at the facility, like my mind was like, I'm coming back. And I talked to Coach Nagy about it. And it was just one of those things where when I got to the end of my rehab, which was a very long process, that was probably at least 18 months. I got to a point where would I have been even close to what I was before? No. Would it have been for the story? Yes. That's all it was for. And so they just had to
Mhm.
reflect like, what am I doing this for? What are the reasons that this is a reality for me? Like, why is this living in here? And it was for all the wrong reasons. I wasn't going to be able to impact our team in a positive manner anyway. It was going to be for, the redemption story, the pride, I went and did this. And it was everything that just, what happens if the risk doesn't, outweigh the reward or vice versa, however you say it. It just wasn't worth it at that point for me. And I battled with it for a while, but there was just a moment of clarity when it's like, it's not worth doing this for all these wrong reasons. And it was time for me to kind of move on.
Yeah, there's getting back on the horse, and then there's actually making a calculated decision of risk versus reward. And then you thought, "I'm gonna start writing songs and get into country music."
I don't think that was even like a thought. That was more of we'll call that like a happy accident. That was a direct correlation from my injury because it was more so therapeutic for me at that point. You saw me in that state where I was at my house and had a walker and then went from a walker to a long time where
Mhm.
I was sleeping in a hospital bed in our sunroom.
There's that, like, I feel like it's a little bit of a famous picture in your story with you playing the guitar, truly in a hospital bed.
Kristen took that, sitting there, just probably looking at me like, oh gosh, this poor man is struggling. I needed something to lean on. I was in the hospital for 30 days. And then when I got out of the hospital, I have a hospital bed in my house. And I'm still got bars in my legs and I still have a ton of pain medication circulating through my body. And like, I'm just not in a great place. And music was really the only thing that I could turn to kind of get me out of some of those emotional states. And that's where I just kind of fell in love with the process of putting putting words down on paper. And I never thought that it would lead me to a place where I was making music and putting music out for other people to hear. It was solely therapeutic for me to get through a certain point in my life.
How long after that did you perform for the first time or put out that first song?
I think in like 2021 maybe, or 2022 was the um first song that I put out. Around that same time, maybe in like May or something, was the first like live performance. I was actually just talking to someone about it. I went to a high school or a middle school on Wednesday to speak, and we were talking about just like the fear of failing and kind of how all this stuff exists. And I was so scared to go do that because it was so bad. I had never performed in front of anybody. I didn't even have songs to play. Like I had a ton of like really, really bad covers to play and then some music that I had written. I just didn't know how to do it. But like you have to start somewhere and you have to be willing to kind of look like a fool. And I just knew that I loved what music had brought me. And I don't know. So yeah, 2021 I think would probably be the first time where I was like, all right, I'm gonna at least have a little bit of fun with this and see what happens.
What's more intimidating or scarier, playing in your first NFL game or going out and performing on stage for the first time?
Just two totally different things. I was so confident playing football. So I didn't have that fear of, the unknown. I knew the game. I knew I've done this my entire life. I felt confident in my abilities. Music's different, right? It's such a subjective art. People decide if they like it or don't like it. And I battled with that early on. Because when I play sports, like I didn't give a fuck if anybody liked me or not. Like I didn't care if you thought I was good or not. That was more my personality. I don't need that outside validation. I don't live for that. I'm gonna play ball. Is
Mhm.
It's just what I do. I battled with that in music, and I had to get to a point early on where I was super nervous to go and play because I was like, oh, what if people don't like this?
Hmm?
There is going to be billions of people on this planet that do not like this music at all. And it took a long, long time. I'd say a couple years for me to be like, who cares? If I like it, it's good. It's good enough. And then I can put it out because I enjoy it, and I'm making music for me first. And if anybody else connects with it, then it's like that's the best thing ever. And I had to get to that point and kind of get back to my roots of like I don't really care how this is uh, perceived. If I like it first, it's good enough to go with. So that's kind of how it all started.
That's exactly how this podcast started too, You just gotta get to a point where you're like, "Fuck it. I'm gonna just do it, and if people don't like it, whatever." But it's hard to get to that point, and especially, like, in this world of social media and this type of pressure.
This day and age, they put so much value on social media and how many followers you got? How many people are liking it? Who cares? Like I'm out here making music because I like to do it. And if other people like it, then it is like it's worth something to start. But if other people like it, now you're affecting other people's lives, right? I'm sitting here talking on a
Mhm.
podcast. I don't really care if anybody taps in to listen to my story. I enjoy talking to you, and I hope that people tap in and listen to you interview people and do this because you're very good at it. But other than that, like if people connect with us, then that's how it goes. And I think that's the beauty part of it. We lose sight in the value of something if it doesn't have the most streams or the most likes or the most whatever, then it means it's not good. And I don't think that's the case.
It's so true, but it's tough. I mean, we talked about it. I think it was maybe it was Kristen and I were talking about it, but she's like, "You could put up something Bears related and it gets like 10,000 likes and people are obsessed." And same thing. And then you put out music or like not everyone wants to see my sourdough journey and I just have to accept that.
We don't have to be pigeonholed. And you go to like my social media, for example, since you bring it up, like I think most people followed me for football. And as I transitioned into a different thing with music, like the algorithm just doesn't show anything unless it's football. Like I'll post a football thing and it'll get 10,000, 20,000, 70,000 views. And within like 3 hours, I'll post, oh, hey, I got a new song coming out, and it'll get like 50. And so that's like that could,
Yeah.
if you're seeking the numbers and you're really going for, oh, how many likes can this get, how many views can this get, that could dampen your mood in a heartbeat. I just don't really care
Mhm.
anymore. I want people to find my music and be exposed to it and just give it a chance if they like it or not. I don't value if they don't. Like if you don't like it, I don't care. If you do like it, I absolutely love the fact that we can connect on a different level when it comes to music, because there's stories that live inside songs that like I connected with in a different way opposed to just going through life at a as an everyday thing.
Who are some of your musical inspirations?
I would be a fool not to mention Dermot Kennedy as my first inspiration. And I think the beautiful thing about that is he's one of my best friends in the entire world. I got to meet him in 2015 when I was playing uh, just randomly through a video on YouTube. I saw him playing a song, like, damn, this guy's incredible. And I sent him a message on Twitter, actually, from back when it was Twitter. And I was like, hey, blah, blah, blah,
Yeah.
whatever. And then he ended up, I said, come play a show in Chicago. I'd love for you to come to one of my games and I'll come to the show. And we did it. And he came and watched the game. And then that later that night, he played at the Subterranean to a packed house there. And we just been boys ever since. As good as a musician as he is, like he's at the top of the list. He's a better human. And I think that's where like it's weird for me because we're such good friends, but I love his music so much.
You're like, "I'm a friend, but also a fan."
I have no shame saying that. Like I'll support him in any endeavor. Like I'm buying merch, I'm going to shows, I'm out there. Like I'm really
Yeah.
uh a really big fan of him and just the person that he is. So he's probably got to be at the top of the list for, my musical inspirations. Big Sam Hunt fan for a long time. My sound has since kind of changed. Like early on, that's kind of what I was chasing, that country pop lane. At the true core of like where I live at is like kind of singer-songwriter indie sound. And so this album that's coming out kind of has leaned a little bit more that way. Old school guys, like there's CCR is a huge inspiration to me. My mom and dad grew up listening to classic rock, so there's a ton of those guys that live. CCR, a guy named Billy Falcon, who I love. I got a wall of fame down in my studio. Those are
Yeah.
my biggest inspirations. I can't even name them from top to bottom, but
Who would be your, like, dream collab to perform?
I mean, I did perform with Dermot. He invited me to open his show in Chicago. Gosh, a couple of years ago, and that was crazy. Like, I probably wasn't even really ready to be on stages like that.
But you gotta start, like, you know? Although that's, like, starting way up here.
Was at Northerly Island, so like Soldier Fields in the background, and like just sitting there, I felt like this was a very cool moment for me. That's kind of hard to top. I opened up for Sam last summer at the McHenry Festival, and I got to meet him. He was incredible. I've met some people that you don't know them, and you're like, oh, I really want to meet that person. They're great. I'm inspired by them and do whatever. And Sam he's up there. And sometimes you worry. You're like, okay, is he going to be that cool?
Never meet your heroes. Never meet your heroes, they say.
He's as cool as I thought he was. He was incredible, like great with my family, just super cool to talk and just kick it with. So he checked off all the good things about him. I couldn't say enough good things about him. I mean, those were the top two inspirations, and I've already had a chance to play music with them. Now, getting on a song with either one of those dudes would be incredible. Let's talk. There's a gentleman by the name of James Gillespie who I really like. He's kind of a UK based singer songwriter. Can we do like crazy crossovers? Because J. Cole's my favorite rapper. That'd be wild.
Why not? I mean, country has kind of, and maybe I'm biased because 'cause I'm a country music fan, but they've kind of done all of those different collabs. I mean, they have rap. I'm for it.
I'd say those two would probably be the first two people that I would reach out to ever do anything. There's a lady. Her name's Rose Falcon, and she's the daughter of Billy Falcon. And Billy Falcon was like an album that I grew up listening to. It's called Pretty Blue World. And it was like a staple of my childhood. And I still listen. I'm talking like back when it was a CD.
Whoa now.
What are you talking about, CD? I would have worn through that thing. I think I bought probably 4 or 5 copies of it, whether I lost it or it broke or do whatever. And like, I would love to do some type of song with her. I think that would just be cool because I was such a huge fan of her father, and she's a great musician as well. So
You know, you mentioned your family, your parents obviously having a little bit of influence on your music and everything else. Love them. Your mom comments on all my social media stuff.
I wonder if she has like, does she ever work while she's at her job? Constantly on IG, be like, hey, what are you at work right now? What do you do?
Number one fan. Love her. Shout out Mo. But your family is just incredible. I mean, their support through all of this. Like, yeah, I'm gonna play football. I'm gonna do this music thing. They're always there.
They are. And they do that with everything. Like Kristen's fully involved in so much, right? And I feel like, early on when we were like, okay, I'm gonna go play in the NFL and we're gonna do all this stuff, and she's like, okay, then what? Like, are we gonna come back home? And like, I took on her a 10-year adventure of like, we're gonna move to Jacksonville, and then we lived there. Then went to Tampa for a short stay, and then I'm like, all right, we're going to Chicago, and then the end of that, like, she's has her third child at home who's 4 months old, and my dumbass is in the hospital for 30 days, and she's got to pick up. Now she got to fly down to New York or fly down to New Orleans. My mom flew to Chicago to stay with the kids. She's been through it, right? And then they came to all the
Mhm.
games. My mom and dad did. So supportive there's obviously, like you said, top tier. Then I get done and I'm like, hey, instead of me just retiring and kicking it, how about I try and play music?
Have you ever wanted to live the rock star life? Because let's give that a try.
But she knows I love it. She's fully supportive in that. And like, they come to as many gigs as they did games. I'm like, guys, you go to a football
Mhm.
game, you never know what's going to happen. You have seen this show. You come to my gig, like you're seeing probably the same damn thing you saw 2 years ago. Except now I got new music, so it'll vastly change. But we have so many memories of doing that, playing ball, and now we have new memories of us traveling and getting to play music and play super cool shows and kind of have the people that I love come do it with me. So I wouldn't have it any other way. I don't know if they're getting tired of me yet, but it seemed to be pretty cool so far.
And you and Kristen are high school sweethearts? How old were you when you met?
So her cousin was my best friend growing up. So I don't know, the first time I ever saw her, I was probably like 6
Yeah, like girls were so gross at the time.
in high school. I took her to my first homecoming. She was a sophomore. So we went to homecoming then. And we started dating, like officially dating when I was a senior.
You know the craziest thing about all of this? Bella is now that age.
Yeah, legit the same age as her. Like Bella just turned 16 2 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago.
Yeah. I saw she looks like I just can't believe it's like the same little girl. And there's few people in this world that I can like associate their kids' ages to how, I'm like, oh my God, can now say I like watched you grow up.
We'll always see our daughters, and I'm sure that your father can attest to this. He'll always see you as his little girl. Like, I don't see Bella 16. Like, she's
Hmm.
probably like 4 or 5 years old, running around in a little princess dress. I'm not ready for her to be this 16 driving.
She's driving, right?
She hit a deer a couple months ago.
Oh no. Do you hunt?
My dad taught me how to hunt from early age. Some of my fondest memories going out and running around the backwoods.
Wait, back to Belle's though. So, I mean, is she like looking at colleges and stuff?
We were just talking about that. We were at dinner last night and just kind of going back and forth on ideas. She's a very bright individual, like way more mature than I was at 16 for sure, but just way more advanced. Talking about colleges, talking about, does she maybe want to open her own business? She loves the beauty stuff. She wants to be, I think that would probably suit her very well, kind of being in some of that. But she wants to do her own thing. Like maybe she wants to start her own company, do things like that. So she's been kicking those ideas. Like I said, she's way more responsible, way more driven than I ever was at that age.
Are you still like cool dad or
Yeah, I think I'm pretty damn cool. I'm like, Bells, I'm dad right here at like the top of the list when it comes to coolness.
I mean, at least you know what? She's like meeting Sam Hunt and doing cool stuff through you. So I feel like keep doing that and you're good. And you're almost through it. I mean, she's 16. And your boys, they'll love you. Like dad'll always be cool. So
They're knuckleheads, so I still got that coolness with them, playing ball and doing all that stuff. I'm like, hey man, you knew I played in the NFL.
both boys playing football?
So Cash played tackle. We started him a little bit late. I think sixth grade was his first year playing tackle football. He's on high school football next year though. He's in eighth grade right now. So we'll see. And I don't really care if they play or not. Like I want them to do what they like to do. Brecken is 8 years old right now. He's still playing flag. I coach him poorly. Now I'm teasing. He loves everything about sports. He's a competitive little twerk.
Think he'll be the one to go pro, follow in your footsteps?
And they can decide that. I can't play for him. My day is done. That's why I tell them all the time, like, I can't want this for you more than you want it for you. But I'd never put a cap on him because that's my father never did that to me. You know, he was always, hey, if you want to play in the NFL, go play in the NFL. You want to be a space astronaut, dude, go be the first one to touch the moon. Because I don't know if we touched the moon yet. I'm not quite sure.
Honestly, the rabbit holes I've been down on social media this week, I'm not sure of anything anymore.
Kristen was like, let's just stay in our little bubble and ride this thing out. We don't need to be involved in all the hoopla and the drama that's going on a daily basis. We'll just be out here. I'll be in the basement playing music. She'll be making sourdough bread and maybe work out in the meantime so I don't get soft and carry on.
Don't turn into sourdough. I'm gonna have to call her because things aren't going well over here.
She goes in waves, like, and it's actually really good.
Yeah, that's why I started this. Kevin was like, "Listen, we're out in the country now, and you need to just like start making some bread or something."
You need to hit Kristen up about the sourdough thing because she's been down the journey and it'll go in waves. I think she gave up like 2 weeks ago, so maybe you'll add another fire.
Well, I put a video out today, and apparently I wasn't supposed to use like whole wheat flour. So it's like brown and crusty, this starter. And it's just the people have spoken, and I think I have to start over.
You killed it.
I killed it. And it's like brown, which is extra
No
bad.
thanks. You'll get some goodness down the road.
Where's the next gig?
It's my first gig that I'm headlining in Nashville, April 9th. Nashville is such a scary town because everybody is an incredible musician there. My manager and I have been reaching out to venues and just trying to book as many consistent gigs as possible because I just want to be on the road. I want to share my music and hopefully it connects with some people. So Nashville, April 9th at the Analog. Super cool venue. I've never been there, but I've been looking at pictures and I'm just like, holy cow, this looks so sweet.
That's awesome. Maybe I'll make a trip. We'll go. We'll see Jay. It'll be great. Sam?
I told Jay, I'm like, listen, bro, if I book this gig out here, I need you to help me sell tickets because I can't have a gig with like 10 people there. He's like, bro, I got you. And I was like, well, you can't buy all 250 tickets.
No worries. I know some people in Nashville. We'll get the word out.
A venue looks incredible. A lot of new music to share. So I'm excited about it. It's just Nashville's a daunting place for a new musician. So it'll be fun though. That's a point in going out and doing that stuff.
I feel like it's the land of opportunities, though. A lot of people, but still, I mean, I think it's always amazing to me when you walk into a bar at like 11 a.m. in Nashville and there's somebody who sounds like they could have their own show.
Like, there's so much going on. It's like, why is this person not famous? Like, why do, and I'm not talking like on the radio or do whatever, like, why do they not have a fan base that's supporting them and they're going out and playing music and making a living? And I'm talking just like a respectable living to go out and play music because they're fucking incredible and they should be able to do that. I found out that the music industry is a very tough place to be, especially if you're starting from the ground up and you got to work a job and you got to try and be creative and you're doing this. It's a stressful place for some young musicians.
I feel like it's one of the most rewarding though when you do make it. There's no musician that doesn't have a great backstory of where they came from and the 4 jobs they were working and how they had a little bit of luck and right place, right time.
It really is a beautiful I think a beautiful climb for most people if they have the right perspective and kind of do it the right way. I love like the independent side of it. You know, people that are kind of doing it on their own. And that's another beautiful thing about social media these days. If you can build a little bit of your own little crew, I mean, you don't need a ton. Like you build a couple thousand and it starts to grow. Like they don't need a big box label to help them out. So I think seeing some of those success stories, like, do you know who Mike is? Just Mike? You ever heard of him? He's more of, I say, kind of hip hop, rap, pop blend. He was a baseball player actually at Duke. And back then his name was Mike Stud. And then he kind of rebranded himself and his name is just Mike, like Mike with a period. But he has done all this on his own. No labels, no nothing. He's got a giant fan base. Just sold out Red Rocks for like 2 nights in a row. Him and Russ is another musician, kind of in that hip hop singer-songwriter world, completely independent. So like it's there, you can do it. And those guys have such dedicated fan bases And I've kind of just been watching and studying them and how they move and how they do things. And like, I think those guys are super inspiring as well, as far as trying to, make an independent business and not leaning on a record label or somebody who's going to throw a bunch of money at you and then you lose all creative control.
Yeah, for sure. Do you have any gigs in Chicago coming up?
I got another one here in Omaha, 17th. I'm playing in McHenry May 2nd. And I'm playing Plattsville, Wisconsin, May 9th. We have Chicago dates. We have like some holds on some different venues. We're trying to figure out when, but I'll probably play there either late spring or summer, with just a couple different venues we're kind of communicating with now. And then September, back to McHenry with Kane Brown.
Love him. All right. Well, good stuff coming up. Thank you so much for joining us. Make sure you comment, like, subscribe, or don't, because we're just going to keep talking anyways. Thanks for joining me on the Out Route.